removed the arrows entirely because it's a totally new tiers because now we're in the playoff push. Start at the bottom quickly. What you will notice, we now have moved up the NFC East to the second lowest tier because those 5 teams at the bottom, they are on the clock. It is the race for the number 2 pick. Why is it not the race for the number 1 pick? Well, because the Jets, who once again are not on the tier, they have that locked up. So those are the 5 worst teams in the league. Then you get to the NFC East. The NFC East, thanks to the Fightin' Joe judges, thanks to Washington nearly pulling off back-to-back comebacks, and thanks to Dallas not playing, the NFC East moved up a tier, so good for them. Then you've got 6 teams in the NFC that I call teaser ruiners. For gamblers out there, be careful the rest of the season. Any of those 6 teams on any given week can ruin your money line teaser, can ruin your money line parlay. They're not good teams, but they're good enough to upset a team before the end of the year. Now we have the teams that really matter if we can zoom in on them. We'll start with the AFC pretenders. Titans, Colts, Raiders, Patriots. They're good enough. They're good teams. None of them will win a single solitary playoff game for the teams that get there. Now the teams that truly matter. AFC contenders. Look at the Miami Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa, maybe your rookie of the year on that list. The Browns, the Bills, and the Ravens. Those teams can cause massive problems if they are allowed to play a game on their terms. If they can control the style of play, they can beat almost, not anybody, but almost anybody. Then there's the NFC logjam. I'm going to admit, some people on the committee thought this was a cop-out. Some people on the committee argued hard that we need to have one NFC team above the rest. Other people raised good points that how can you really differentiate these 6 teams? So it's an NFC logjam right there. And then the Steelers, after a week outside of number 1 contender, after their dismantling of the Bengals, they reclaim their spot as the number 1 contender to, of course, the champs, the Kansas City Chiefs. So there's your week 11 tiers. It's a playoff push tier, totally revamped. Maybe this methodology going forward. Brandon Marshall, your thoughts?
Listen, not bad, not bad. I love this. I'm so tired of power rankings. This is really good. But I only have 2 things that I want to highlight here. And I think you're off just a little, Nick. The Cleveland Browns, I'll pick my battle. Let's start with the Oakland Raiders, and you have them as AFC pretenders. I feel like the committee got lazy. Like, how do we not have this team just a little bit higher? Because they beat 3 teams that's ranked higher than them. They beat the Saints. They beat the Cleveland Browns. And who else they beat? Oh, the champs. They beat the champs. So when are you going to put respect on this team, Nick? So that's my first. First thing. Yeah, please explain this to me.
Let me answer the Raiders. Hold on. Let me answer the Raiders, then get to your second critique. So the Raiders, it should be noted, when there was a rough draft of this submitted Sunday night after the late game, the Raiders were on the contenders tier. That's where they were. And then Monday, the news came out that the Raiders in week 5 were taking victory laps after a regular season game, and the committee talked and said contenders don't do that. Contenders don't celebrate regular season victories like their championships. You know who does that? Pretenders. So they got moved down because the Raiders themselves know they're not real contenders. So that's what happened.
Are you mixing business with your personal feelings and thoughts about the Chiefs?
I abstained.
Is that what happened right now?
I abstained on the Raiders vote.
No, that's what it feels like.
I was so angered by that, I abstained.
I feel like there may be some corruption with the committee.
No, I abstained on the Raiders.
Okay, whatever. I think there's a little bit of corruption. We need to look at that. It's not an issue, but I just want to note this right now. Okay, so if the Pittsburgh Steelers win this weekend, and they probably will, they have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Coach Tomlin said he really, really respects the Jaguars, so we'll see what happens there. Okay. But then if the Kansas City Chiefs lose to the Raiders, and then the players get in all their cars and they take a victory lap, can we see the Pittsburgh Steelers go above the Kansas City Chiefs? Is that possible next week?
So not only next week, the committee talked about this, anticipating your question and looking at the schedules remaining for the rest of the way for the Chiefs and the Steelers. If the Kansas City Chiefs suffer any loss before the Steelers suffer their first, the Steelers go at the top spot. That is a commitment from the committee to America that if the Chiefs get to 2 losses before the Steelers suffer 1 loss, then the Steelers must go atop the rankings. That is true. So it could happen this week.
Then I'm good.
Wilds,
good job.
It could happen this week. I don't think it will, but that's where we're at with that. So, yeah, it's a fluid list.
Okay.
Wilds? Oh, wow. Glasses.
Oh, wow, Mr. Wilds.
Greetings, everyone and fellow committee members. It is I, Kevin Wilds, looking like Benjamin Franklin. I'm here to petition the gentleman from Kansas City to move the Colts of Indianapolis up a tier at least for the reasons I lay out henceforth. Reason number 1, LeBron-esque defense. They are good at everything. The fewest total yards, the second fewest passing yards, the third fewest rushing yards, and the 4th fewest points allowed, just under 20 points a game. Reason number 2, they're also the best tackling defense. Every week we see highlights of people missing tackles, not the Colts. Pro Football Reference says they've missed 35 tackles all year, best in the league. And reason number 3, the NFL's best offensive line, 2nd lowest pressure rate allowed, and top 5 in pass and run blocking, according to Pro Football Focus. For those reasons, I, Kevin Wilds, petition the committee to move the Colts up, not 1, but 2 tiers, to a special contender tier. Nick, what say you?
What I say is you made a lot of very good points, and the committee considered all of them. Unfortunately, your great full screen is totally undone by this average video. Because the reason the Colts are where they are is because of number 17. Because we all know that Phillip Rivers in his prime was a hold your breath and squint your eyes playoff quarterback. And Phillip Rivers at age 38 in year 17 in a new system with a new team and a new coach, we have no reason to believe that's going to be any different, Jenna. So the Phillip Rivers factor is the reason why the Indianapolis Colts will, I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's much they can do to move up past the pretenders in the committee's eyes. I don't see the Indianapolis Colts having the ability to move up much further than they are. It's just how the committee views them. Maybe that could change, but I'm just anticipating that that's about they've reached their Peter principle, if you will, for the season. I hate to tell the good people of Indianapolis. It's true. We talked about it a lot.
All right, so listen, here's what could make some things interesting for next week. I love looking at what we got coming up. We got these matchups pegged, and it could affect who goes where. You got Cardinals Seahawks tomorrow night. You got Titans Ravens, Packers Colts, Chiefs Raiders. There's Rams Bucks. You got a plethora of fantastic games with great implications.
A lot on the line.
Nick, what do you think the outcome of these games? How do they affect next week's tiers?
Well, I want to throw this to Brandon because you've got Thursday night football and Monday night football in Cardinals, Seahawks, and Rams, Bucks. To me, those are 2 of the biggest games of the NFL season thus far. On Cardinals, Seahawks, I think that could determine which of these 2 NFC West quarterbacks stays in the MVP battle. But I'm even more interested in, Brandon, in Rams, Bucks, because I want to see how Tom Brady looks in the face of not only the Rams pass rush, but most specifically in the face of Aaron Donald. You want to talk about changing, forget the committee. My opinion of things, Brandon, if Brady can look good against that pass rush with that type of pressure up the middle, that's going to me, that could potentially make the Bucks the leading contender in the NFC. So those are the games that, to me, have the most interest, Brandon.
Yeah, I have a huge smile on my face because as a player, this is what you want. You're in November. You want to see exactly who you're sitting next to. You want to see who you're taking the field with. There's no better team to play against to kind of see where you're at. The Rams are really good. Defensively, they're really good. Offensively, if McVay is clicking and Goff is on fire, then they're pretty much unstoppable. So this is a good matchup. But Nick, I got to say, the game game that I'm really interested in watching and I'm most excited about is that Kansas City Raiders game. That Chiefs-Raiders game I'm super excited about. Because if the Chiefs go down, you have to deal with me on Monday morning. I'm telling you, if they get swept, you have to deal with it. I'm not going to take it easy on you like you took it easy on me when the Bucs got crushed by the Saints.
Yeah, Wilds. The Chiefs are. Oh, we're going. It's going to be an early night. That's Sunday Night Football. America should be able to turn their TVs off about mid-third quarter of that game, Jenna.
A lot to get excited about in going into Week 11. We've heard a lot of great sound bites from some big-name players this season. Turns out, we've all been duped. How in the world is that possible? Well, when Jimmy Fallon basically dares you to include some wacky sound bites in your press conferences, you have to say yes. Listen to this.
Dalvin, you were named NFC Offensive Player of the Week today. How do you feel about that?
Great. Give all the credit to the O-line up front, receivers, tight end, just going out there and just working hard. And I run yards like switch hard, so that's what it is.
What is your favorite part about being a receiver? Is it catching touchdown passes? Is it your dance celebrations?